Senate Bill 5534, substitute is in order. Senator Fortunato.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move substitute Senate Bill 5534 be substituted for Senate Bill 5534. Substitute Senate Bill 5534 be placed on today's second reading calendar.
Senator Fortunato moves that substitute Senate Bill 5534 be substituted for Senate Bill 5534, and that substitute Senate Bill 5534 take its place on today's second reading calendar. Hearing no objection, so ordered. Substitute Senate Bill 5534. The Secretary will read.
An act relating to spring blade knives, amending RCW 90.
Last line.
Effect July 1st, 2025.
Senator Fortunato.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill has already passed this chamber, I think, 4 times, almost unanimously. It's particularly important to disabled community, people with hand trauma that have difficulty handling knives. And currently under state law, they would be considered criminals. Washington is the last state in the union, the last Western state that still carries this as a crime to have it in possession. Was it not a substitute?
I don't believe we bumped it.
Well then, Mr. President, I move that the rules be suspended, that Senate Substitute 5534 be advanced to third reading, second reading considered the third, and the bill be placed on final passage.
Senator Fortunato moves that the rules be suspended. Substitute Senate Bill 5534 be advanced third reading, second reading, considered the third, and the bill be placed on final passage. Hearing no objections, so ordered. Substitute Senate Bill 5534 on third reading and final passage. Resuming remarks, Senator Fortunato.
Thank you, Mr. President. What I said before, plus it still keeps the possession as a dangerous weapon in schools, in daycare centers where they have to be secured, etc. So it just simply removes the fact that you can manufacture. The other thing, Mr. President, we've already lost 2 knife manufacturing businesses in Washington State. Currently, we're down to 1. So I think we've lost 300 or 400 jobs over this. And again, we're the last Western state, so I urge your support.
Further remarks, Senator Nobles.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. President, and I thank the good gentleman for this bill because it's a simple, common sense fix to an outdated law that we have in Washington State, and it brings Washington in line with neighboring states by removing spring blade knives from the list of dangerous weapons. These knives aren't weapons, in fact, they're tools. These tools are used by tradesmen, by outdoor enthusiasts, and individuals with disabilities who need easier to use options. Many Washingtonians don't even realize that carrying one can put them at risk of breaking the law. But the bill also supports local businesses, as the good gentleman already mentioned, and workers by allowing Washington manufacturers to compete on a level playing field. The knife industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, Mr. President, and we should be keeping jobs and revenue here in our state, and this bill helps us to do so. Spring blade knives are safe, they're reliable, and they're widely legal across the country, Mr. President. This bill ensures that Washington State can legally own and use them while keeping reasonable restrictions in place for schools and other sensitive locations, and I urge support. Thank you.
Further remarks, Senator Gildon.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm also rising in support of this bill. This has been something very dear to my district for a while. Certainly I have a constituent who will be very happy at the passage of this bill because he's been working for a number of years, starting with my predecessor, actually, to try and get this bill across the finish line. So I just want to say thank you to the gentleman from the 31st Legislative District for bringing this bill up and getting it to this point, and urge a yes vote. Thank you.
There are no further remarks. Question before the Senate is final passage of substitute Senate Bill 5534. The Secretary will call the roll.
Alvarado, Bateman, Binky, Braun, Chapman, Christian, Cleveland, Conway, Cortez, Dingra, Dozier. Fortunato. Frame. Gildon. Gaynor. Hanson. Hanson. Harris. Hasagawa. Holy. Kaufman. King. Krishnadasan. Leas. Lovelet. Lovick. Lovick. McEwen Drew. McEwen Jim. Mazal. Nobles. Orwell. Peterson. Ramos. Richelli. Robinson. Robinson. Saldana. Solomon. Chesler. Shoemake. Short. Slatter. Stanford. Torres. Trudeau. Valdez. Wagoner. Warnick. Wellman. Wilson Clare. Wilson Jeff.
Senator Lovick, how do you vote? Senator Lovick votes aye. Senator Robinson, how do you vote? Senator Robinson votes aye.
Mr. President, 46 aye, 2 nay, 1 excused.
Having received a constitutional majority, Senate Bill 5534 is declared passed. The title of the bill will be the title of the act. Senate Bill 5